Please welcome Alessia Casali, Marketing and Community Manager at Tomorrow Bio. Tomorrow Bio is a Berlin-based biotech company pioneering human biostasis. This means the preservation of human bodies at extreme low temperatures. And the vision is that the revival of biofunctions will be possible once biomedical science have advanced. So Alessia will talk about the possibilities of preserving human life. Please welcome Alessia.
So, hello everybody. Is it working? Perfect. I am Alessia. Thank you for being here. I'm Italian, living in Berlin, and I'm head of community at Tomorrow Bio. And yeah, before I start in telling you what we do at Tomorrow Bio, which is something pretty unique, I would say, I want to start with the story of the person who founded the company. And here you can see this guy with the light blue tie. It was an interesting color choice. This guy is Dr. Emil Kenziorra. This spot is very old. Now he's a bit different. He was at med school and he decided to join med school because for the longest time, longevity has been his focus. And he spent years in cancer research, but there was a problem because he needed to find something that had an high impact on longevity. And with high impact on longevity, he did not mean just living healthy, which is great. Of course, everybody wants to live healthy, but he wanted to live longer. So he started, some tech company not just for the sake of, running tech companies, but because he was searching for something. And the problem is that the reality is not really this. We are not really have something that could extend the maximum lifespan drastically. And we have this graph that actually show that, more and more people over centuries and decades are reaching the age of 50, then the age of 60, the age of 70, which is great because people are also reaching this age with a much better health. So incredible. There is one thing though that is not changing, and you can see here in this circle. The problem is that everybody still dies somewhere between 85 and 95. So, that's the reality we have to face with longevity. And Emil was not happy with that. There is another example, which is pretty powerful, I would say. This is from Emil. He always uses this because of his background in cancer research. So it's very interesting because in 2005, the US National Cancer Institute, which is one of the biggest and best funded, I would say, institution in the world, announced that by 2015, they want to eliminate cancer, not make treatment better, not reduce mortality, no, eliminate it. And that's a pretty bold statement, I would say. And now probably you did your math already, but 2015 was 10 years ago, unfortunately. And the reality is that there's nothing that drastically changed and increased the maximum lifespan. So again, Emil was not happy. And he decided to found Tomorrow Bio. Tomorrow Bio is, as I was saying, pretty unique, I would say, because what we do is this, but we do this in reality. And I need to be fair, we don't do this. This is probably what you saw in some sci-fi movie or probably Futurama, which is the most famous example we can bring. And of course, it's very different. And even if it's journalists like this article from BBC likes to say that we actually freeze people, the reality is that we do the opposite. And just to give a bit of context, this is the definition of human cryopreservation. So it's a medical procedure that has the goal to put the human body in a biological pause, waiting for some technological development that can actually cure the eventual cause of death and revive the person. And I know you may have a lot of questions and you may think, but this is something I will think like later on in my life. I'm still young and I don't need this. But actually, I have an unfortunate example, which is this one. This is one of our last cryopreservation cases. So the guy was young, healthy. He was living in Madrid. He was married with 2 kids. And at a certain point, he got sick. Doctor said, you have now pancreatic cancer. You have just a few months to live. We have some treatment, but the only thing they can do is actually remove the pain from you, but we cannot do anything to save your life. So unfortunately, this is pretty common. This person is now in our cryopreservation facility in Switzerland, and it's one of our patients. Another interesting slide is actually this one. It's just not a bunch of random numbers, but these are the ages of people cryopreserved with us in Switzerland. We now have more than 20 patients, plus we have some brains and also some pets in a separate area. And as you can see, yes, we have some old people, 99, 91, and 90. So it is something also for old people. But the problem is that we have a tremendous amount of people dying in their 50s, in their 20s, in their 30s, and that's scary, I would say. And of course, this is the worst scenario possible. And I can assure you that people in this situation, they usually think that if the choice is between cryopreservation and cremation or burial, whatever you prefer, they would rather do cryopreservation and take the chance that maybe in the future there will be a cure for the disease that they died for. These are really, really bad scenarios, but there are also great things. So we conducted a study some years ago in the US, then more recently in Germany and Switzerland. We published it in some journals already. And we asked people, so how long would you love to live? And would you choose cryopreservation if you had this possibility? And actually, 26% of people said something that it's interesting. They would love to live indefinitely, which, of course, currently is not really possible. And another between 20 and 30% said that, yes, they would choose cryopreservation if the option is between cryopreservation and cremation. So let's go back to what we do, because I think it's the interesting part. I have a famous photo from one of our partner research lab in the US. This is cryopreservation, and I will explain you why. Of course, it's pretty clear these are kidneys. It's pretty clear which of the two is the frozen kidney. Is the one with eyes, the one white, the one who looks something which is not really a kidney, So the first kidney here was put in the freezer at minus 140 degrees. And as you imagine, maybe it happened to you, maybe you put a fruit or a vegetable in the freezer, you remove it and it's mushy. No? This will happen the same with our organs. And, the kidney is gone. You can do nothing, it will be mushy, it will be everything but a kidney. The second kidney is a cryopreserved kidney. This means that we use the same procedure we use for a human body. And more than cryopreservation, this procedure is called vitrification. So vitrification means putting an object in a glass-like state thanks to the use of a liquid which is called cryoprotectant agent. This kidney was vitrified and it's a rabbit kidney. After being vitrified for some days, he was put back in the rabbit. The rabbit survived, the kidney worked, and actually this was one of the big achievements we had in the cryopreservation field. No? And recently I also know it was published in Nature. They did the same with a mouse. And it worked. So small steps, but we're going in the right direction. I think it's more interesting if I show you some photos, real photos. So This is one, it's pretty empty now. It's a bit more full. We have more of this object here, and I will tell you what they are. This is one of our rooms in our cryopreservation long-term facility in Switzerland. It's near Zurich, near the airport. This big object here, it's called dewar. A dewar is a vacuum-sealed container made out of stainless steel, and it's very tall. As you can see, like, these two are the founders. This is Emil, this is Fernando, and it's pretty big. And this is where we actually store our patients. And no, it's not like the famous glass, coffin with the frozen body and the hand like this. No, it's a bit different. Everything is closed. You cannot see inside. So it's also better, And this big container is filled with liquid nitrogen. The temperature inside is minus 196 degrees. And we don't use electricity to make it run. It's just a matter of refilling liquid nitrogen once in a while, but it's an automated process, so it's fine. And this big thing can contain 4 human bodies. And in the center, we also have a column for brains, because what we do is also brain cryopreservation. So this is actually the facility we have. The room you saw, it's actually here. It's in the underground part because of security reasons. And here you can see our garage. On top, we have our lab where we do our research. And also there we have a room for an operation room with our CT scans. This is the room I was telling about. This is us doing a training. And the CT scan, it's covered, but it's there now. This is the team, part of the team. One thing about cryopreservation is that we need to be extremely quick. Quick because, of course, after your heart stops beating and pumping, the degradation process of your cells start, and we need to avoid that. So we need to be quick. And that's why we created our ambulances. It's kind of sneak peek, but they are very cool. They're not normal ambulances, of course. We retrofit them and we buy normal ambulance and we just change some parts. And what we do is that if we have a case, we drive with our ambulance because the cryopreservation process starts here. And then we'll be finished in Switzerland, in the facility. The reason why we have ambulances, again, it's because we have to be quick. We have several ambulances. This is our coverage. Of course, our headquarters is in Berlin. And the second one is in Switzerland, where we have, now we have more ambulance, actually. We recently bought 4 new ambulances, and we are modifying them. And to have more coverage around Europe, we decided to do also some partnership. So in case something happened very quickly and we cannot reach the patient in time, our partners will actually help us. So we also are locating ambulances in a strategic way, in strategic position around Europe, so we can quickly reach every point. And of course, very recently, we also expanded in the US, which is very nice. There is a bit of a competition there, but we're now operating in California, New York, and Florida, but we're building our ambulances in Texas and Portland as well. So if you're wondering, we can actually cover the entire world because we also have our flying kits, but to make sure that we provide the best cryopreservation possible, we're now accepting people just from Europe and US. So if you want to be a member, you have to live in Europe or US. Because quality matters. And this is how we measure our quality. Because people are like, you do cryopreservation. It's still like something, a gray area. So how do you measure your cryopreservation quality? What we do is, as I was saying before, CT scan. So after each case, we do a scan of our patients to evaluate what is the quality of the perfusion we did with the famous cryoprotective agent. So as you can see, the green areas are the areas where the cryoprotectant was perfused, and this is a really, really good cryopreservation case. The yellow part you see in the center is just because it's a part of the brain where you actually don't have brain tissue, so it has to be yellow, let's say like this. So this is a big nice scan, I would say. Cryopreservation, unfortunately, is still a bit expensive. So we're talking about these prices. To become a member, you pay a fee, which is €50 per month. So it's not really too much. But to be cryopreserved, you actually need 200K. And the trick, I would say, we decided to use is insurance, term life insurance. So people actually pay the membership fee. They set up an insurance. We are the beneficiary. And if something happened, the insurance will pay the 200K instead of them. Of course, there are other funding methods, and it's very, I would say, personal, the choice. So, there are some ways. Of course, it's still a bit expensive, I know. But of course, the amount of work behind that and the amount of medical team we need and the ambulances, it's a lot. So we, of course, hope that in the future we will have price decreasing, also thanks to the economy of scales. But of course, in order to achieve that, we need much more members. At the moment, we have more than 800 members sign up, so they're paying the membership fee to then get our cryopreservation services once they die, basically. So, it's a reality. It's real, and I'm very happy to be here and present this. We're almost done because I needed to be very quick. And here you can see 2 QR code. With the first one, you can subscribe to our newsletter so you can get updates about what we do, our ambulances, where we are now covering. If you're interested, you can also directly sign up. And if you have questions, you have my name and my email. And I really would love to close with a thought, because being head of community means being every day in contact with all our members. And it's difficult because you have a lot of complaint, but it's also very nice. If there is one thing that I learn from our members, is that cryopreservation is not a cure. It's not a solution. It's not the plan A. Probably it's the plan B, C, D, or E. Cryopreservation is just better than zero, and it's better than cremation. And our members, the majority of our members, choose cryopreservation not because they fear death, but because they want to see the future. They're curious. They just don't want to give up on their future. And of course, this is beautiful. And talking with them, I realized that this is a very meaningful, deep, important life choice. So I'm very proud to represent all our members, and I hope they're watching this or they will see this. And I'm done. And thank you very much. If you have questions, of course, I'm happy to reply.
Thank you very much, Alessia, for this extremely interesting presentation. I can't wait about the news when you revival the first
we're
body.
waiting for that. We don't know.
I think we're all waiting for that. Here is one question.
Thank you. I would actually have 3 different questions. The first, what is the procedure after your client passes away? So what are you actually doing in this ambulance car? And then question number 2, have you ever tested the resuscitatability of an entire body, like an animal body, rather than only the rabbit kidney, if that really works? So have you ever tested the reversibility of your procedure? And number 3, whether this 200K is that a lifetime subscription or what? So is that, whatever lifetime means in this respect. So is that for an indefinite period of time or for a certain period of time? Thank you.
So, I will start from the last question, which is the easiest one, I would say. Yes, it's indefinite. And of course, being in liquid nitrogen and stored there means that you can be kept there for whenever we like. And we don't know when revival will be possible. Unfortunately, it can be 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, 200 years. We don't know. But of course, it's also in our contract. You will be kept there indefinitely. So for that, it's sure. And we have also like a legal structure, and it will be pretty difficult for the foundation in Switzerland or our company to go bankruptcy. So let's say that we thought about like every possible scenario in the future, because of course, it's probably, we're talking about years. And for the second question about rewarming, let's say, an entire animal or human body, no. Of course, with single organs is easy because you have one type of tissue. So that's it. You can try it. And I think that's the first step. Unfortunately, we are stuck there. Not any mammal has been revived yet, and not even like human body, of course. Of course, the complexity is that you need to be able to cool down and rewarm the entire body at the same time. And when you have like a mammal, a human body, whatever, you have different type of tissues, and you need to avoid that the first layer is maybe warming up while the inside is frozen. So that's the big challenge, I would say, in cryopreservation. There is a lot of research around it, so I'm pretty confident, and I hope that in around 50 years we will have, big breakthrough in this field. But unfortunately, so far, we're talking just about organs. And what do we do once some of our member dies? So I've been trained to participate in one of the cases, so I can actually say what is happening to a cryopreservation case. Of course, not doing surgery. I'm not a surgeon. I'm doing marketing, so I'm just assisting, of course. And basically, what we do is that we receive a call. I don't know, the member itself or the family members or some like people who assist this person maybe during a car accident, I don't know, dies. They call us, we receive a call, look, this is the member name, you need to come. The first thing we do, we grab our bag, we have that ready at the office, we have that ready at home, and it happened that sometimes we just have to go. Like, there's no time. It's like, you don't have time to think. You just go. We start driving with the ambulance because, of course, this is where the cryopreservation procedures start. And we get the body once a doctor pronounces legal death. And at that point, the cryopreservation procedures start. There is a surgical part, there is the perfusion part. So we actually wash out the water in the body and the blood, and we perfuse the cryoprotective agent in order to prevent ice crystal. Because, of course, we cannot freeze a person. We need to avoid that. That's why we perfuse the cryoprotective agent. So once we did that, of course, in the meantime, we make sure that we bring the body in a lower and lower temperature, -20, then -30. When the procedure is done, we drive back to Switzerland. And at that point, we start the cool down. So the body goes from -40 to of course, very, very slowly, like it takes days, to -196 degrees. And once the body is in liquid nitrogen, lid, done. Of course, it's much more complicated than this. I cannot explain every detail. It will take me, I think, hours. But this is what we do. Like, summarizing it.
Thank you. There another question there?
Congratulations. On the one hand, it's a bit shocking. On the other hand, it's really promising. I think it's not only a problem of warming up, but as a researcher, I know that at -80, a lot of or most of the enzymatic processes stops. And after thawing up, for example, enzymatic processes like phosphorylation and so on, does not come back.
Yeah.
So that would be my main question, whether you have tested any, not in the whole body, but in the organs, any kind of processes that are necessary for having a life in your model.
Actually, this is a great question. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm the best person to reply to this because I'm not a researcher. But of course, you can reach out to me. I will make sure to have probably Emil replying to that. From what I know is that, no, we didn't do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but we're still in the early stage, So, yeah.
So thank you very much, Alessia, one more time. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
over
you.
to us.
Thank you, everyone.
You. Thank you.